Hey everyone, thank you for tuning in the Waveside View. And I'm here with Mark Globe. You might know him from the movie Courageous. Yes, the one that every time the officers out there say, I love you.
I hear that a lot now. And there
Not you.
could be worse things to hear, there's no doubt.
So Mark, how did you like acting? How did you start that thing?
Yeah, I don't know if you call what I did acting, but we have some great editors. It's obvious that I'm not an actor. I actually have a car lot there in Albany, but the movie was coming along, and it was about, when I found out it was about men stepping up and being the men that God's called us to be, it touched my heart, and I thought, hey, let's. Actually, my wife told me I was supposed to go audition and not shut the door to let God shut the door, so I went and auditioned, and there you go. I was a sheriff.
Wifey gave you that little.
She gave me the push because I was saying, I don't know how to act, and she would just, Mark, are you making that decision, or are you letting God make that decision? And so, yes, she was a little push.
So you think you're going to stick with the acting thing?
I think I'll stick with the car business. I know it a lot better than I do the acting thing. It was awesome.
Whatever comes along.
That's exactly right. Whatever happens with it. Yep.
All right, so the church that you go to, can you please?
Sherwood. I've been at Sherwood Baptist since 1990, and was there when the thought of Flywheel came along, and have always, with my car lot, I've kind of helped in the background with providing them cars that they need to wreck, or the truck that was in Courageous that they slammed into a tree, was able to secure it and modify it with my shop and make it where we're able to do that. So it's just been fun, being a part of a church with that ministry that also allows us to go out and share the gospel in a way that we probably wouldn't be able to do it if God was not using our church in that way. So.
G20, how did that start?
G220, about 4 years ago, my accountability group, I'm a part of accountability group with 5 other guys, and we were invited up to Athens to spend some time with Athens, Georgia, to spend some time with a church and share with their men what we were doing in our accountability group. Well, that turned into doing a conference, and we'd never even thought about doing a conference, but they said, would you come and spend some time with our band of brothers? And so we thought, if we've got 8 hours to spend with one guy, what would we want to share with him? And thus G220 and this conference is birthed out of that.
So it's just for men's, and what does that entails?
Well, G220 is Galatians 2:20 is what it stands for, and it is a men's ministry. We in that process of what do we want to share, we want to make sure that a man's saved, that he understands he's saved. We want to make sure that he knows how to walk it out, that it's not just behavior modification, but it is a relationship with Jesus Christ. Right. We want to make sure that he understands what it means after those two things, what it looks like to be have Christ in your life as a husband, have Christ in your life as a father, and then the last session that we do is on accountability and how we as men don't do well by ourselves, and to have other men that you can lock shields with to go through this life that we're all going to fail miserably short daily because of the flesh that's in us, to have men that are our guidance, and we do a couple of things, and one of them is the way we look at it is it's kind of like the side of the road when you've got those little ripples and you start to ease off the side of the road and it goes like that. That's what each other. That's right, and that's what we use each other for. Hey, so we meet weekly. Our accountability group does, and then when it's just like this conference here in Crawfordville, we're asked to come. We don't call and say, hey, we've got this great conference that we'd like to do for you. We let God say, hey, I need you down here, and we'll pray over an invitation and decide, hey, is this a good thing, or is this God wanting us to go down there and share with these men? And so that's kind of how it all works. But we are 6 men in Albany, Georgia, that farmer, doctor, car lot owner, a photographer. I mean, we're men just like the guys we're talking to out here today, coming together. That's exactly right, like the body of Christ.
So that's awesome. So the men's, how did they react to that? They actually just looking at the movie Courageous, and then tapping into that.
There's we did our first. I guess we've only done one conference since Courageous was out. So the other 5 that we've done have all been, pre-Courageous, and This is the first time that really even Courageous has come into conversation at a G220 conference. Before that, it's just a group of 5 guys getting together, and there's no doubt that me being a part of it, and Ken being in Courageous, that helps us get some notoriety, some credibility, and being involved in that ministry. But really, our platform is Galatians 2:20, and men stepping up to be the men that they're called to be. That is our heart, that men catch that at the end of this. We've had a lot of guys that birth accountability groups after this, because that's what we really drive home on the last day.
I was going to say that, Mark. There's a lot of groups out there that are doing things for men's. They're calling themselves,
Yep.
But I
there is a huge difference in a Bible study, men's Bible study, or a men's prayer breakfast, or the other things, pizza, or going, fishing, or building ramps for helpless people. I mean, there's all those things are great. That's not an accountability group. Accountability group is 6, whatever the number is. 6 is kind of large, but whatever that number is, it's those men that are willing to get in your life, and you're willing to open up your checkbook. You're willing to let them see your day timer, and you're willing to let them talk to your wife, and you just open up your life to them. And they are free to pour into you godly wisdom, not their opinions, but godly wisdom, and showing you areas that are blind spots, because we've all got blind spots.
So it ain't the blind leading the blind.
It's not. And you have to pray through. One, you have to want accountability, and you have to be a good accountability partner to even be able to have a good accountability partner. But you've got to pray through that, because there's plenty of people out there with opinions, but to know that these men that's got my back are seeking the Bible before they come back to me with any kind of information or any kind of correction or anything, that's the difference. That's right, and it does. It makes you. I can't go into that meeting once a week with a bunch of junk on my back and try and think I'm going to help my brother. So it does. It cleans you up a little bit. It's like, hey, man, I got to get right before, I got to shuck this, and God's told me this, and to get out of my life, and all that's got to happen so that you're able to pour into somebody. The other big piece to us is a 40-year commitment. And we have set a 40-year commitment. And if you don't go into a true accountability group with that in mind, you're going to miss it, because that's like saying divorce is not an option in a marriage. If divorce is even the word that's used or out there and a possibility, that changes arguments, it changes commitment, it changes everything. Well, and when you say in your accountability group, hey, listen, we're in this thing for 40 years and then we'll reevaluate, we kind of joke. But that changes how I'm going to view you, and it changes my arguments with you or whatever come up, because I know that, hey, he's in it for my good, and we're in this thing for the long haul, so we got to figure this out.
Looking at men trying to just, hey, team up with me, this girl, and you probably have problems at home, and you got kids, and help me out here. We're not, so you're not a group just trying to get away from the family, or a place that just get away.
No.
You're trying to put everything together.
And listen, most times when you go into, or in our group, when you go in and you say, man, I need some help here. My wife, so-and-so, so-and-so, so-and-so. Typically, the mirror is turned right back and say, hey, man, what did you have to do in that? So it's not a session where you sit in there and talk about why. I mean, it's a session where a lot of times flesh is dealt with. And a lot of times it don't hurt. We've also talked about the fact that, I don't necessarily care if you like me, because a lot of times we want to like, and the fear of man and all those kind of things, and that will make you hold back what you need to share, and the areas that you see are blind spots. But if you will go into it with that is a much deeper love to go to somebody in that tough love situation, and with that 40-year commitment, and it changes relationships. They're a lot deeper.
Especially us, that we like to put up walls, and it's like, and words, I mean, the power of the tongue, right?
Yep.
So sometimes when you may say something to me, it may hurt, but I know it may be the truth that I need to hear.
Yep.
But it's just like, how do I get away from that?
That's
and
right.
Oh, well, I can't make the meeting tonight, or something.
Exactly.
Do you get
right.
that?
That's it. Yeah, we have not. I've been in them before, though, that has. This group has tight knit, and because a lot of these things are laid out up front, and we've been in groups where that exact thing has happened. And in fact, the first G220 conference we did, one of the sessions had a powerful testimony in there about a guy that was in our church on the praise team, standing out front, teaching Sunday school, all that, and in an accountability group that kind of over a couple of years meandered away, and I'm out of town a lot now, I don't have time, all this, and ended up in adultery, ended up committing suicide, I mean, it's just a horrible, horrible story, and with a lot of wreckage. So yes, we've been a part of groups like that makes us aware of here's where the enemy's able to get in. Here's you better be looking out, because if somebody's like they missed 2 weeks, you better be, well, hey man, what's up? And that being part of the accountability.
Yeah, 'cause we like to disappear from things like that. Well, Mark, if somebody wanted to get involved in something like that, I'm gonna hand you over this mic, and I want you to look at the camera, and I want you to let them know how and where they can get a part of this. All right?
The thing I would say about being a part of an accountability group like I just described that is life-changing is diligent prayer. One, you've got to surround yourself with men that are like-minded and are chasing after Christ and are trying to walk this walk out, but then you've got to pray diligently, Lord, put the people in my life that need to be there to be accountable with. And that's really the only way to get into an accountability group that God's in, is through diligent prayer.
Thank you so much, Mark. And keep on doing what you're doing, brother.
Yep.
You're doing a great thing for the Lord.
Thank
God
you.
bless you.
Thank you.
God bless.